my class pictures when I was a junior in high school, that almost all but one came back with a strange sneer and not a smile. I know now that was my first symptoms recorded.
Well, it started with the droopy eyelid, and then it kind of hit everything. I was tripping over rocks that weren't there, or just falling. My legs got weak.
I had been quite athletic, a singer, piano player, and I began to have trouble walking. I began to have trouble talking, let alone singing, and I no longer could move my fingers with any strength to play the piano.
In the 4th grade, they basically decided that I wasn't well enough to go to school, so I'd call myself a 4th grade dropout. Basically, they kicked me out. I was even kicked out of the Brownies because I couldn't keep up with the other kids. I was about 8 and a half when I was diagnosed with MG.
I was 16 when I first developed myasthenia, and I was 18 before anyone could diagnose it.
Myasthenia gravis is not a well-known disease. Since myasthenia gravis occurs perhaps in 30 per 100,000 in any particular population, implying that there are perhaps 600 or 700 patients with it in western Pennsylvania, this is not a very large number. And despite the fact that all physicians learn about myasthenia gravis in medical school, they may never recognize a patient with the disease if they don't think about it. It's not like a broken leg or a heart attack or pneumonia, which is very common. And certainly there are people who have died who were either misdiagnosed or not diagnosed promptly enough. And therefore, there certainly is a need for people, especially neurologists, anesthesiologists, and general physicians, to understand what the symptoms are and how to at least exclude or determine that the diagnosis is present.
My parents saw a little story in the Pittsburgh paper about people who were interested in myasthenia gravis were going to meet, and my parents took me to that meeting, took myself and Jim, and the man that had been the leader was totally unable to go on. There weren't more than about 6-7 people there, and my father, who was quite a leader, quite an organizer, my father said, "You can't do that. You can't. My daughter has just been diagnosed, and you are the only hope she has." And in the end, at that meeting, another man stepped forward to be the leader. They called it chairman, president, whatever. And my father was the vice chair or president. And that lasted about 6 months. And when that man, the disease was overwhelming, and then my father just took over. And my father led that growing organization because that's what he did. He made it grow for more than 10 years.
MGA facilitates the patient's mind, body, and soul. We are so much more than just a doctor's office. They get emotional support through our social worker. There's patient advocacy for their medications. And there's a support system with other patients with myasthenia gravis.
They had told me that I would not live to be 21. And that myasthenia was that deadly, that I would choke to death or have trouble breathing and get pneumonia and die. I've lived with myasthenia for, 57 years? And I'm out, chopping trees and taking electric chainsaws and running rototillers and loving every moment of it.
The organization has been a big part of my life. It helped me with the self-esteem. It was because of the social worker here that I got my apartment, that I had the courage to move into my own apartment. It took friends from MGA to help me cross the street by myself downtown. It was a big part of my life, and it still is, and it probably always will be.
We have had numerous patients who have gone to other neurologists and gotten a plethora of diagnoses, whether it's rheumatoid arthritis or the psychological things, and to have them come and actually get a diagnosis and find a home and get the correct treatment. We have had many people who said that they would not be here today if it were not for this organization.
Thank you, Mr. Sayanga.
Thanks, Mr. Sayanga.
Thank you, 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 Mr. Sayanga, for the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation.
I would say to my father, thank you, Dad. Thank you very much. And I thank you for all of the other people who have been helped because of your care and your love.